So it is time for the NFL season to get kicked off between the Dallas Cowboys and Philadelphia Eagles. The Dallas Cowboys just made the decision to trade away Micah Parsons to the Green Bay Packers, and now you have a Cowboys defense that, with Micah Parsons playing in 13 games last year, ranked 31st defensively, and yes, I know they had some injuries. They are now going in to play Philadelphia, and they are now without one of the best pass rushers in the NFL. And so I think when you look at this game, I just don't think that this Cowboys defense is going to have enough to hold this Eagles offense in check. That was one of the best in the NFL the past few seasons. And Jerry Jones said after the trade that this was a move to be better on defense. And he talked about Kenny Clark coming in to stop the run. And I think Kenny Clark can be a fine interior defender. But to say that moving to Kenny Clark on the defensive line and moving on from Micah Parsons is going to make the Cowboys defense better in 2025 is just not factual. That is not going to happen. That is not true. The Cowboys are going to be worse on defense than they would have been if Micah Parsons would have been here. And I think for Kenny Clark, he dealt with some injuries last year, which did hold him back. He had 1 sack last season. I do think he'll be better this year with Dallas than he was last year in Green Bay, just because he is returning from that injury and should be healthy going into the start of this season. I just think that when you have a generational type pass rusher like Parsons, who had 12 plus sacks in his first 4 years, first guy to do it since Reggie White, you're not replacing that guy. So I think it was risky for the Cowboys to make this move. Now, while I don't think it makes them better this season, is it possible that in 2-3 years you look back, you see the money they spent elsewhere that they would have spent on Parsons, you see the multiple first-round picks? Is it possible it works out better for them? I guess it's possible. There's just a ton of uncertainty because you never know what's going to happen with first-round picks. The hit rates, close to 50%. So even with those 2 first-round picks, which will likely be in the late 20s because you just made the Packers Super Bowl contenders, it's going to be, you're not getting, a top 10 pick, probably not even a top 20 pick in both of those drafts. So I think it was risky. I don't think it was a good move for the Cowboys, but here we are. And looking at the Philadelphia Eagles offense, they're pretty much returning the same unit, and that's an offense that was 7th best in scoring, win a Super Bowl, and I think for this team, it looks like defensively there's more uncertainty, just a lot more change there. Offensively, it's nearly the same unit, and once again, Jalen Hurts is having to deal with a new offensive coordinator in Kevin Patullo, but we've seen it for 4 straight years. Hurts has had new coordinators, and in spite of all that, the past 3 seasons, the Eagles ranked 3rd in scoring, 7th in scoring, and 7th in scoring. So I don't think that the Eagles' offense is going to have any issues, especially against this Cowboys defense that I do not think is going to be very good this season. And so saying that, this really comes down, if the Cowboys want to have any type of chance here, the Cowboys offense has to carry them in this game and put up, I'd say, probably 30-plus points. I feel like the Eagles are going to put 30-plus up on the Cowboys. So if Dak Prescott and the Cowboys offense, want to have a chance in this game, they have to come firing and bounce back from the performance we saw last season. Dak Prescott only played in 8 games. He honestly wasn't that great during the games he played. Worse than typical for him, 11 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, 41.9 QBR, which was the worst in his career. And I think for the Cowboys, their strength now, especially with Parsons gone, is their offense. They trade for George Pickens. I'd say Pickens is a top 15 receiver. CD's one of the best in the NFL. And so I think that's going to be clearly the way that the offense goes this year is through CeeDee Lamb and through George Pickens. Both of those guys help each other, being a legit presence out there on the field. And I think when you look at the Cowboys offensive line, I'd say it's average to slightly below average, but there is a little bit of uncertainty with Tyler Guyton coming into his second year as well as, first-round pick Tyler Booker. So I think just because when it comes to the Eagles defensively, there is a lot more change there with, 2 of their 3 most effective pass rushers are gone, and Josh Sweat and Milton Williams. They also lost multiple defensive backs, Darius Slay, CJ Gardner-Johnson. And so I feel like with it being the first game of the season for both teams, this is a chance for the Cowboys to take advantage of a defense that is going to be, I'd say, figuring things out the first few weeks just because you have so many new pieces there. If it was the same defense as last year, even though sometimes, it takes teams a little bit of time to get that rust off sometimes, you'd feel pretty confident that they gel well together. And now this group just has to sort of figure out how each other operates. And no doubt they've done it during training camp, but it's much different when the season rolls around. So this is the opportunity for the Cowboys offense to take advantage of this new Eagles defense. And that's honestly the only shot I would say the Cowboys have in this one, is if they're able to put up, 30 plus points. But I think the Eagles are going to win this game by probably 10 points, 7 to 14 points, around there. I just don't think the Cowboys have a chance in this one with how bad I think their defense will be against one of the best offenses in the NFL. If you want more NFL content, feel free to subscribe down below, and I'll see you guys next time.